Welcome back to the Total Focus podcast. I'm your host, Paul. Our special guest this week is LaQuisha Hall. She is the newly crowned MRS Ambassador, Maryland 2020. She is on the show. What an inspiring person to actually have the opportunity to talk to. She tells her story, went through a period where she was raped and misabused by people in the church, and she uses her opportunity in the pageant world to affect change and speak about it. And because of that, her life has become much better and very much successful. There's no one else better to tell her story than herself. So why don't you guys grab something to drink, sit and relax and listen to this phenomenal interview and really understand why pageantries can help take that dark day and make it a bright, sunny day. And welcome to the show.
Thank you so much for having me.
Oh, it's always a pleasure. I honestly love LaQuisha. I honestly love the ambassador brand and pageant. I worked with the two sisters, the mother and daughter, years ago. So I'm so excited to have the current MRS ambassador on the show. So um, how did you learn about the system?
I'll be honest with you. I actually learned about it years ago, and I met the national director, uh, Kristen Thurston, and I was so impressed with her passion for community service, community work, and I also loved how much effort she put into ensuring that the winners of her pageant had lots of prizes, felt loved, felt supported, and that was something that I desired to see in pageantry as a whole. And so she embodied all of that. And in learning about her years ago, I had just always kept it in the back of my mind. I had the opportunity to compete for the Maryland title after finding out that it would be hosted by two wonderful women in my state. I absolutely love Faith and Vicky Ram, who are the owner and co-owner of the Maryland State Pageant. And so once I learned and discovered that they were leading it and it was for the system, I jumped in with both feet.
Well, I absolutely 100% agree with you because um, unlike a lot of systems, this system really focuses on volunteering,
Yes.
and that's the core. You're not focused on, um, raising money, but it's more about, getting out of the community and affecting change. So, and,
Absolutely.
we really need more people that have the opportunity and time to do that. And for some reason,
Mm-hmm.
having a crown sash really does still make a difference. If you're a politician, they pay attention to you, or someone that has some money that still has some stature. So yeah.
Yeah.
Well, how did you originally get into pageantry? So you currently have this title, but you know, were you competing when you were not married, or have you just recently started competing since you've been married? Like, what drew you to in the pageant?
Well, I'll tell you, as a teenager, I remember correspondence being mailed to my home about entering pageants often, but I had very strict parents, and they did not allow pageantry in our household. So I was exposed to it at a young age, but I didn't get to participate until I was married. So I am a survivor of sexual abuse and domestic violence by way of my parents, and I grew up through trauma, and I matriculated through my young adult years in a very depressing way. I tried to commit suicide in my freshman year of college, and all of it stemmed from the things that I had experienced in my childhood. I felt so low about where I was in my life. And then when I finally changed my life around through, grounding myself spiritually, I became a teacher. I started interacting with teenagers. I started in high school. And I realized that a lot of the young people that I interacted with on a daily basis experienced also what I did. And my heart was overwhelmed with, why are there so many young people experiencing what I did? And it just seemed like no one was doing anything about it, that it wasn't being talked about openly. And honestly, sexual abuse and domestic violence is they're one of those topics that people sweep under the rug because they're so uncomfortable having that conversation openly. And so I found my freedom in sharing my story, but it was actually on a pageant stage. So I met a friend who was in pageantry, and again, I hadn't been exposed since I was a child reading letters in the mail. And she shared with me, after I told her about my experiences as a high school teacher, she said, "You should get the word out through pageantry." And I was like, I am not a pageant girl. So she.
Well, your friend was absolutely right because, you know, the the women that and the people that support pageantry are the people that are going to listen and will help you connect with the right people. So whoever
Yeah.
put you in that right direction definitely sounded like that was good advice.
Absolutely. I mean, it really got me fueled into the direction that I'm in now. And I was just so excited that she even thought that and she saw me as worthy as even participating in something that she had made look so glamorous, in my opinion. And so I entered, because of my strong spiritual backing at the time, I entered the Mrs. Christian International pageant as my very first one.
Well, that sounds
And
awesome.
yeah, I mean, it was an amazing experience. My first one, of course, would be amazing.
Well,
But
no, I honestly that sounds like a perfect with a such a trauma thing to occur to you. So
right.
sorry for that happen, but to do a pageant where you can basically address it in your community and
Mm-hmm.
in front of people that will probably listen. It's not going to be just a pageant patty group. That will probably affect more people. Maybe there'll be more people that are going through that you could help to change and help them to fight back from that situation. So I'm sure you made a
Right.
difference. I mean, I would hope that by you standing up that you definitely made a difference.
Thank you so much. I appreciate that. I do believe that I did that. Standing on that stage that evening, all of our interview was on stage in front of the audience. And again, I had not had any formal pageant experiences. And so I remember the MC asking me what was the hardest thing I had to overcome in my life. And I stood in front of a Christian audience and these Christian judges and other Christian contestants, and I just blurted out that I had overcome sexual abuse at the hands of a pastor. And when I tell you, the room got so quiet, I felt like I said something wrong. I was like kicking myself internally, like, oh my God, I can't believe I just did this to myself in public.
But sometimes you got to say it in public for it to be real. So you know
Yeah.
and sometimes that's the hardest thing to do. Um,
Oh,
and,
yeah.
and the truth is always the hardest, especially when it's such a hard topic like to talk about. So,
Yeah.
but
Yeah, absolutely.
like I said, you know, I think it made a big. It sounds like to me, it made a bigger difference because you did it in front of your friends, family, colleagues, in your
Mm-hmm.
community, and not just a pageant patty group of pageant contestants.
Yeah. Right. Absolutely. And what I discovered, to be honest with you, was quite shocking. A lot of people, I won that pageant actually,
Well,
and
congratulations.
thank you. And I discovered after the pageant that so many of the people in the audience, they were coming up to me and sharing how in awe they were that they felt so boldly share my story. And what they saw as boldness, I just saw as being honest. I saw myself as honestly answering the interview question that I received, and it turned into people coming to me and telling me their stories afterwards, which was extremely powerful to me. I felt like I wasn't alone.
You know, it's that rotating pile of information. After you roll it down the hill, it just continues to get bigger and bigger. You know, so the first thing is you have someone has to be willing to roll down the hill first. You know, or tell or raise up and say what's going on. So I commend you
Right.
for being the first to do that. So
Thank you. I appreciate that. And I will never forget this 80 there was an 81-year-old woman in the audience. She was in a wheelchair. She came up to me afterwards to congratulate me, and she grabbed my hand and she said, "Baby, don't stop telling your story." And so I thanked her because I was overwhelmed, but she followed that through tears. Like, she started to cry, and then she grabbed or touched this locket that she was wearing around her neck, and she opened it and showed it to me, and it was a picture of her in her childhood. You know, keep in mind she was 81 at the time that I'm talking to her, and she told me that through tears she had never gotten the opportunity to tell her mom that her dad had molested her. And so it was in that moment that I told myself, "Oh my goodness, I don't want to die or live my life with regret of not sharing, or leave this earth without sharing my story, or just to live with that amount of weight that I felt she was carrying." And so she really encouraged and inspired me to just keep going, because I saw so much pain that she was carrying.
you know,
Yeah.
I can't imagine having to bear a cross like that. Um,
Mm-hmm.
you know, it's like having starting your life off as a baby and have cancer right away. So,
Mm-hmm.
do you feel like a whole weight off your chest, and do you feel like you were reborn, or like have a new look on life ever since that you were able to speak out and have a voice and have that opportunity?
When I tell you that that's exactly how I felt, I mean, I was just so grateful for the friend that suggested pageantry as a way for me to talk about this difficult topic, because I used to volunteer for organizations prior to participating in pageants. And I remember parents walking by with their children, and they would like cover their eyes because I would be sitting behind a table that would have a sign on it that said "Stop Child Sexual Abuse" or something like that. And so they felt that they were protecting their kids by shielding them from the information that I had to share. And through pageantry, I found that people were bringing their children to me, to meet me, to greet me, to talk to me, and they would want them to take a picture with me. And I was thinking to myself, it wasn't too long ago I was trying to share the same information with the public, and they didn't want to hear it because it was just me, an individual. And now that I'm wearing a crown, now everybody wants, or at least will stop to hear what I have to say. And what also shocked me was people would be amazed that that was my story, because they didn't expect that to come from somebody that they saw as a beauty queen.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, the longer I live on this life, it's not the way the story is told, but um it's the I totally did it the backwards. It's not the way that the story is, it's the way the story is told, meaning
Mm-hmm.
that um the way that you're telling your story as a pageant contestant clearly is more approachable than just going and having a bold sign. Maybe that's,
Right.
you know, you're the way, having a crown on is putting it in a way that more people can uh, um, consume it without being scared.
Mm-hmm.
Do you feel
Right.
that way or?
I do feel that way. I feel that through wearing a crown and giving people a space to feel more comfortable in my presence, it has not only offered people the opportunity to feel more comfortable having a conversation, but it's given them the confidence to feel brave enough to share their own stories. So from starting pageantry, I went into like a full crusade. I was like, if people are going to listen, I'm going to take advantage of this. And so I started to travel. I went as far as Switzerland to tell my story between the years of 2008 and 2013. And in that time, I had won several pageants, but I continued to use the titles that I had won to share those messages. I took a break in 2013 and all the way up through this year. Actually, the ambassador pageant is the first one I've done in 7 years. So,
Okay.
Prior to that, I had won Mrs. Christian International, and that was in 2008. Following that, I won Mrs. Marilyn Galaxy, and I was first runner up to Mrs. Galaxy in 2009. And following that,
Well, what was your experience with Galaxy? Because I'm very good friends with Yolanda, and she's a former Galaxy title holder, and she expressed her experience was really good. So did you enjoy that system?
I enjoyed the type of pageant it was. So the Christian pageant was a little more conservative in its approach, and the Galaxy pageant was more fashion forward and fun. Like,
Mm-hmm.
if that's a fair comparison
No, of
to
course.
make. So I love the glitz and the glamour of the Galaxy system. It was more fun. I had fun on stage versus kind of in the other pageant. It wasn't a bad experience in the Christian pageant, but I felt more reserved. And
But maybe that's what you needed as your first
yeah.
pageant to like get you feel comfortable on stage because you had such a huge story that you had to tell.
Oh God, yes.
Your story. It sounds like your story was more important than the than the dress. You know.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Absolutely. And that's very true. I'm glad that I started the way that I did because I needed um, that conservative start so that I could feel confident enough to keep going. And I also loved my Galaxy pageant sisters from Maryland. They were so supportive of me, and I learned sisterhood through them. When I won the Christian pageant, I didn't. We were all spread out because we were coming from all over, so I didn't really bond with them in the same way I did with the ladies that I met through the Galaxy pageant. So that was a great sisterhood that I learned through pageantry as well because I also had come from a broken family and having those people close to me who were always checking on me, encouraging me, and pushing me to keep going. That meant a lot to me as well.
well, I think most people can relate to um good family support. So
Mm-hmm.
if you're not having that great family support, it just shows how strong you are as a person to be able to succeed in life. So,
Thank
um,
you.
you know,
Yeah. Thank
so
you.
you, you started off with your Christian pageant, then you did Galaxy.
Mm-hmm.
Did you do any other pageants between your
I
gap?
did. I did. I also did the Mrs. International Beautiful pageant. I'm not sure that that pageant is still in existence, but I do remember when I entered it. The crown and the sash was absolutely beautiful, and I just I was just so enamored with the look of that pageant, and was really excited to win that national crown. And then from there, I did the Mrs. Essence pageant,
Okay, yeah.
um, which also is no longer in existence either. But that was one of the ones that I will always treasure because the first runner up to me, who was a friend of mine, her name was Letitia Coleman. She died from cancer about a year later. And so that was her platform and the way she advocated for the cause and then lost her life shortly afterwards. My heart went out to her and her family in a different way, because she really, like, I know that I use pageantry to share something important to me and something that I overcame in my life, but she was actually living it at the time that she was competing.
Well,
I remember
at
her.
least she got to celebrate that 1 year of excitement. Maybe
Oh, good.
maybe that was like God's little thing. I'm gonna send you out with a big bang. With a big
Yeah.
celebration. I know it's hard sometimes looking back on it, but sometimes God
Hmm.
does try to do something special for you if He's got to bring you home. So.
Absolutely, that's true. And he definitely did that through her. And then the Mrs. Essence pageant was the last one I did in 2013 until I competed again this year.
And were you just did life get too busy? Is that what caused you to not do any pageants or?
um, to be 100% honest with you, I felt initially that I needed pageantry to help me spread the word of such a difficult topic to discuss publicly. But once people got to know who I was through pageantry and my communities, and I became more widely known, I felt that I didn't really need pageantry to help me continue to push that message that I was pushing. And so I took a break because honestly, when you're dedicated to a title, it takes a lot of energy and a lot of scheduling of appearances. And I remember I often did about 80 to 100 appearances a year in each title that I had. And
That's
so,
incredible for you to do that because sometimes the girls do less than one a month. So
yeah,
very kudos for you to go out of your way to really push your agenda and try to affect change. So um
thank you.
so
Yeah.
would are I guess the way do you feel that you achieved everything that you needed to do, that you use that power of that title to your full advantage, and did you feel that you did everything you can, that you felt that you could do it on your own? Is that point, is that
I
basically?
absolutely felt that way. Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Um, yeah.
So I guess are are you in favor of someone doing pageantry or pursuing it if they have a certain cause to um, give themselves a voice? Is that how you feel that pageantry should be used specifically to promote a cause that needs a voice, and that sash gives you the power to do that?
That is a great question. So,
Mm-hmm.
I personally feel that way for my own life, yes. However, I have recognized that there are some young ladies who have participated in pageants who gain confidence through being on stage.
Okay.
And so while it might not be pushing a cause, it could be pushing yourself to expose yourself in a way that could boost your confidence and your self-esteem. And so I also see pageantry as an opportunity for that. I know a lot of people may say there's multiple ways to increase your confidence and self-esteem. You don't have to use pageantry, but that is an avenue. It's an effective avenue. I've seen it happen multiple times, where someone goes from being very shy to being a spokesperson for an organization. I mean, that's incredible to me. So pageantry to me has a lot of perks, a lot of positive gains from young girls all the way up.
Well, if a young person is listening to this and
Mm-hmm.
they're hearing your story, if they don't have something that they are pursuing, like a cause, and they didn't have something horrible happen to them, and they feel pretty confident in themselves,
Mm-hmm.
is there a reason to do a pageant, or do you think there's still benefit in them doing it?
Yes, I would say so. My personal philosophy is that we are not put here on earth for our own personal gain. And so while I may have gone through something traumatic and used pageantry to promote their cause, and someone else may not have gone through anything traumatic, we still have a responsibility as people as humans to support one another. And so if there is an issue in your community, and we all live in a society where there's lots of issues that surround us. There's homelessness, there's LGBTQ rights, there's so many things that need strong voices backing it, that even if you didn't have any traumatic happen to you personally, there is a cause in your community that you can take up and be a voice for. And you may not um, advocate for it as fiercely because you didn't personally experience it, but having your voice aligned with the people who are experiencing it will take your life, your confidence, and the people around you to a whole nother level. They'll appreciate what you have to offer them and what pageantry can do even to support their cause. And so I just feel that even when we don't experience something personal, we have a responsibility to support our own communities.
You know, I absolutely 100% agree with you. I think that you have, as a young person, the opportunity to affect change, and if you have the possibility or the time and um, ability to do so, I think you should definitely go out and change your community, so,
Yeah.
and represent it. Um, it is that basically the easiest way you should go out and represent your community. Is that
I do think so. I know that some people may not stick to one cause. Like, you could just be a volunteer and support various causes in your community, even if you don't dedicate yourself to just one particular one. If you haven't experienced anything yourself, just being present when people need us most can mean a lot to people as far as pageantry is concerned. I mean, there are a lot of people out there that do have negative views of pageantry. And so to see someone with a crown and sash, serving the food alongside them, passing out hope beside them, can help change their perspective on what they think of pageantry. So, yeah, I do think that's important.
I just wanted to take one extra second and talk about our sponsor of the week, MidAtlantic Video and Photography Production. No matter if you're planning a wedding and you need a wedding videographer, you're doing a music video, or doing a commercial, they are the team to get the job done. You can reach out to them at 443-422-3830. Again, that's 443-422-3830. Or you can go right to their website at mavpp.com. Now let's get right back to this great interview. All right, so this is the part of the show where I let my guest take over the show and talk about all the current stuff that's going on. It's you just won MRS Ambassador Maryland, and we want to know all about that system. Do you have anything coming up that you'd want to talk about, and anything else that we haven't had the opportunity to bring up? But I would love to just learn more about you and your system.
Thank you so much for the opportunity to share this.
Oh yeah, sure. I
mean, this is a great platform for pageant queens, and I think that you alone, this should be shared more widely, and more queens should be on your show. I really appreciate.
I appreciate. I honestly I want to use this platform for anyone that is going to pursue change. So that might be a model, that might be an actress, that might be a professional athlete, that might be a pageant contestant, because those particular jobs are affecting change and they have a lot of power. So, like I said off air, there's something that's special when you have name recognition, and pageantry still has name recognition. Some people might not think that pageants are amazing or perfect or whatever, but when you walk in with a crown and sash, everybody wants to take a photo with you. So there's
absolutely
something, somehow, like, for that 30 seconds they want to have a photo. So you do have power, and it's amazing how by having that crown sash, you can go and talk to the governor, or perhaps go to the local assembly, or even go to Washington and affect change. So, well, I kind of took over a whole segment, but I want to go back to you. So please, I want to learn more about the ambassador program. I want to learn about more about what your goals are for the year and your exciting ideas for nationals. So please tell us.
Okay, so first, I'm very proud to be USA Ambassador Mrs. Marilyn 2020. I love this system because it's a charity driven organization, and they have this acronym for the word SLICK. It's SLICC, and it stands for Success Through Leadership, Integrity, Character, and Confidence. And this is something that they try to instill in all of the women and young ladies and young girls that enter the pageant system. I absolutely love that these are the characteristics that they try to infuse in the contestants, as well as I love that the pageant system was created by a mother daughter duo. I think that we need to, as a society, see more partnership between mothers and daughters, fathers and sons, parents, families. And so the fact that they were able to create such a strong system, and this is their 10-year anniversary as well, and it be successful for this long says a lot about what is possible in our society. And so I love that they have several different charity organizations that they support. One of them I know is Big Brothers Big Sisters, which is the national charity beneficiary of all of their proceeds. We actually, as queens, raise money also or donate to the national charity as well through USA Ambassador. And so there are multiple titles for this pageant system. There's Little Miss, Junior Preteen, Junior Teen, Teen Miss, Ms., and Mrs. So I know that when people see the picture of the night that I won, they see a lot of queens standing on stage, and that's primarily because there are 8 national titles, and so you can win that at the state those titles at the state level as well.
But doesn't that make it such a much more funner pageant to have so many people to celebrate with than
Oh
just
my
like
goodness. It was the cutest with the little girls.
I know. And I had like I mentioned earlier, I had the privilege of meeting both the mother and the daughter before the mom passed away, and I mean I absolutely would 100% endorse the ambassador pageant. I think it's 100% going in the right direction, and I love a family pageant. I love a family run organization, especially when it's a mother daughter, and just like you're saying, they ran it so well that even though the mother passed away, it's still successful and still being run really well. So it just shows how well she she brought her daughter up and taught her everything it needs to do to run a great organization. So you know
Yes.
you know
I mean, it's absolutely impressive, to be honest with you. I mean, even down to how they make the contestants feel. Um, even the people who don't win, I mean, you just walk away feeling like a winner because of all they instill in you throughout the pageant weekend. And so that's one of the things I appreciate about this system, because I am a teacher, I'm a mentor to young ladies, and I have been for over 10 years. And I created my own nonprofit called Queendom Tea, and so a lot of what I see happening through this pageant system is what I do through my mentoring program, and that's what attracted me to it. I love, to be honest with you, I love pageants that focus on community service, because I think we need more of that. We're living in a society now where people are saying to themselves, that's not my problem, that's not my business, and they step away. And I think that if we do less of that, we'll have more empowerment in our communities. And so, pageant systems that cater to getting out into the community and supporting others are systems that I personally gravitate to. And so, Ambassador has just impressed me in such a way that I can't even describe. So,
well, I'm with you. totally with that. We need to really encourage our children to be proactive and
Mm-hmm.
not to sit on the sideline. So I'm 100% behind you on that. Um, and I'm sure
Yeah,
you're going to raise incredible, beautiful children that believe that the same. And I'm sure you're instilling in your classroom kids to be strong activists as well. So, I
absolutely.
mean, that's what makes America great when you have people that are willing to continue to try to make it better and better. So,
Yeah. Um, so I guess my plans for the year are I definitely want to do as much as I can with my sister queens. And I'm supporting all queens in the DMV, not just the Maryland queens. So, um, anybody in my area that's in the ambassador system willing to support and uh, volunteer alongside them. I also hoping to close out 2020, my mentoring program this year, crowning the young ladies in my program with my title and letting them see another side of Mrs. Hall because they are familiar with my pageantry background, but the current young ladies that are in my mentoring program have never seen me in a crowning session. So this has been really cool for them. I brought it to school recently, and one of the girls in my program wanted to wear it. And so I took a picture of her with it on. That was our first appearance. So,
I'm sure that was really cute.
oh my goodness, it was absolutely awesome. You can actually see it on my Instagram account at LaQuisha Hall. And I'm just really proud to represent the state of Maryland. I have represented Maryland several times in the past, but since 2013, I have continued to be recognized for my work in different capacities in the state, and I'm just grateful that it has matriculated and circled back to this. These students that are currently in my mentoring program, they got to see me win Teacher of the Year in 2018. So I have had a
Oh,
title since, but it wasn't a pageant title.
well, no, I mean to have that honor to be Teacher of the Year, that's congratulations on that.
Absolutely.
Like, please, you're leaving all the good things on the kitchen floor, counter. That's yeah, please.
Yeah,
That's
I
congrat.
mean, I was so proud. I've been teaching for 17 years, and
Yeah.
to be honest with you, I didn't even know there was a Teacher of the Year program. I mean, I just found out I got nominated for it one day, and I was like, oh, that's nice. But
Sometimes you just do such a good job. You just put your head down and continue working hard.
absolutely, that's exactly what I did. I just continued to do what I was supposed to do. Somebody recognized me for it, and I'm really grateful. I'm also grateful to have represented Baltimore City in that regard because my students are often underrepresented in a lot of ways, and so for them to see people excited about what was happening in their school meant a lot to me, and now I've turned it over into pageantry again for the girls in my mentoring program. I'm just really grateful. My goal this year is to continue to show them what success looks like in ways that they may not have seen it before, and to not only volunteer for the cause that I advocate for, but also other causes supporting the other queens. But I also want to bring my mentees along with me, so they'll be joining me for my next appearance, which will be this coming Sunday. I'll be at the Priceless Gowns Project, and they're going to come and support me in helping young ladies pick out gowns for their prom.
I
And
mean,
so,
that's a great thing to go and support because
yeah.
gowns today can be so expensive. So if you can go out there
Oh,
and
yeah.
also give your advice, because especially the first time you go to an event like that, you need some adult advice. So with
Yeah.
all of your experience winning titles, I'm sure you can help them pick out a dress that looks incredible and makes them feel confident and beautiful.
Absolutely, yeah. So, I also have a nonprofit program that I'm probably going to do again in some capacity this year. It's called SheRose Awards. And so about 5 years ago, I started an award system for unsung survivors of sexual abuse and domestic violence. And basically, what I did was created a platform for them to tell their stories of how they survived if they never had the opportunity to share before publicly. And I helped them through the process of how to share, and then the night that they share through the actual award ceremony, I turn it into something that looks glamorous. I don't want them to see themselves as victims. I want them to see themselves as conquerors. And so giving them a night of glam and an opportunity for people to cheer them on for what they've overcome, and then they actually get a physical award, is what I aim to do. And so that's called SheRose Awards. I'm going to post that again this year.
I mean, that's a great event to promote and to
Thank
really to talk about. So
you.
um it's basically an award or to help people get over any abuse. Is that the main focus behind it?
Yes, helping them overcome the silence of violence and giving them a safe place to share their stories as well. Because I know a lot of people don't share because of family
Mm-hmm.
reasons, and some of us come from backgrounds where their family feel like if you talk about those things publicly, you basically betrayed the family. There's just so many things that people encounter
And
with,
and
yeah.
I mean, I would love your 2 cents on this, but
Mm-hmm.
I want to say, anyone listening out there, from a guy's perspective,
Mm-hmm.
you should, if someone does something to you, you need to speak out. Do not be
Mm-hmm.
scared of of the family, and don't be scared of someone else doing something to you. You need to tell someone if they did something horrible to you. Do you agree?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree 100%. Now, there are a lot of people that will say you don't have to tell your story to heal, but I feel that releasing it is like releasing that weight that you could be carrying for years, like the 81-year-old lady that I
Mm-hmm.
met at my first pageant. You know, you just never know how heavy a weight is until you actually take it off. And so, all of the survivors who have shared their stories through my program have all said, "Oh my goodness, I'm so glad that I did that." And
But
none of them have
and
regrets.
look how much you're excelling and doing
Mm-hmm.
so well since you told your story. You know, look at all
Yeah,
the successes you've had and everything. So it just proves that that you needed to tell your story to give you the courage to go out there and also live your life and be the person who you
absolutely.
need to be. Do you feel that with this new title that you're at a point where you want to seek out the governor or the local assembly and have meetings with them this year, and do you want to work with them, and do you think there's an opportunity?
That's a great question. I want to start locally with our state's attorney in Baltimore City. She already has a lot of plans in place with helping victims of sexual assault and domestic violence, and so I want to support her cause and mission, and then I want to see where how it can grow from there. I have testified before in Annapolis and done the political side, so to speak, of advocacy for these causes. But what I find is, while that's great and at a higher level and can impact more people, there are so many people that are close to me that I overlook from going to the big people, so to speak.
Mm-hmm.
That I tried. That was one of the reasons why I created SheRose Awards, because I wanted people to feel like we hear you as an individual too. Like we're not going straight to the White House. We're coming to your house and making sure you're okay as well. And that's something that I felt that I needed at the time that I was going through the trauma. I just wanted somebody to hear me. And I didn't care what that person's title was. I just needed someone who would say, "Hey, I heard you, I see you, and I believe you." And I try to be that person for the people in my life.
Sometimes people just need to know that you're willing to listen, you know.
Yeah,
Even
absolutely.
even if you've heard it a million times, you know, sometimes um, you know, a hug really helps, you know.
Mhm. Mhm.
You know who I would recommend talking to is the current Miss DC America. She
Mhm.
currently has her own non-for-profit focusing on rape victims, and
Mhm.
her whole platform is about um, preventing and also survivors. So
Yeah.
the two of you would probably be a really good team to work with. Um,
Absolutely.
so I'll make an effort to connect you guys, and
Thank you.
I hope you guys connect and work really well. She's a wonderful pageant contestant, pageant queen. I think the two of you could be really good um, colleagues. So her name is Courtney. So
Okay. I'm gonna keep that in mind. I'm gonna hold you to that
oh,
connection.
absolutely, yeah, absolutely. Um, well, when is your event coming up? Because we definitely want to. If maybe you need a sponsor, or maybe there's someone here listening that maybe needs to reach out to you and tell their story personally to you. What do you have it planned out for this year coming up?
I do. Well, I have the crowning ceremony for Queendom Tea planned. It will occur early June. So, unfortunately, everything is a little questionable right now because of coronavirus. And so,
Oh, I understand.
my hope and my goal was to host the crowning ceremony on the Spirit of Baltimore
Oh,
cruise
wow.
this year. I don't know what that's going to look like because there's so many things closing down and canceling and things like that. But that is our plan if we are able to do it early June. We have been looking for donations and we were able to raise some on Facebook. Our Facebook name and social media name is Queendom T.E.A. Would love any support from the community that they can offer. And if they do donate, they will be supporting young ladies in Baltimore City schools at three different high schools: Carver High, ACE, and NAFT. And so I would greatly appreciate any support that could be offered.
So, all my amazing listeners, please help her connect with some sponsors, and please send her some people that really do need a nice big hug or some support. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
Yes.
if there isn't anything else, I just want to congratulations on your new title, and want to thank you for really representing our city and our state incredibly. And we're so excited for another year of representing our state. And we are absolutely excited for your upcoming competition at nationals. And we
Thank you.
we hope you have really fun. Have they announced where nationals is going to be yet?
Yes, Nationals is going to be in Florida. I
Wow,
believe
awesome.
um, Tampa or Fort Lauderdale. I can't remember the exact location, but it's going to be on a resort. And prayerfully, this virus stuff will be gone, and so we can enjoy that experience.
Maybe that sun will burn it all up, you know.
Yeah.
So, well, hopefully, no virus and nice warm weather, and hopefully
Hmm.
you'll have your national title to bring home, and even have more things to talk about.
Thank you so much. I appreciate
No,
you.
thank you so much for coming on the show. Thank you so much, LaQuisha, for coming on the show. Sometimes hard topics like assault and rape um, are taboo subjects, and people want to put them on the side and not talk about it. And I really appreciate you standing up and using your platform, and being courageous enough to tell your story and be the focal point of your cause, and also going out of your way to try and change other people's life. So we need more people like you, and I'm so thankful that we have people like you in our community. Don't forget, guys, the Total Focus podcast drops every Thursday afternoon. We are doing our best to stay consistent. I do apologize for not having episodes up every week. We are doing our best, but we have so many great interviews. We have so many national title holders on the way. This is going to be a phenomenal year, and I'm so excited to have everyone listen to these incredible interviews. Please give us a thumbs up or a thumbs down. Please subscribe to us on YouTube. Please look us up on iTunes. And as always, please stay tuned.